Get Pucked.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Get Pucked podcast. Luca, Matt, and Dave here. Vito, not able to make it today. I'm sure some of you are very upset. No, we love you, Vito. I want to dive into something, boys. I feel like the last time we posted an episode coincided with a pretty monumental event happening with the Canadiens, and so we haven't had a chance to really talk about it. We're going to do that now. Yes. For the first time since Ken Dryden won it, Montreal Canadiens has won the Calder. So Lane Hutson walked away with the hardware. I think this was a slam dunk. As per the voting, seems like it was a slam dunk across the board. This was a monster season, and I think it's well deserved. And so it's a pretty unique thing. In addition to the fact that the Canadiens currently having the present Calder winner, they also currently have on the roster the Rookie of the Year in the KHL in Demidov. So that's pretty cool too. And I'm wondering, anybody who's listening, if you have this stat, has this ever occurred before? I didn't have the time really to look it up. I'd be curious to know if any team has ever had this at the same time. I would imagine no would be my guess. So it could be the first time this has ever happened. But let us know in the comments if any of you hockey sleuths out there happen to know. I personally would be very interested. That said, gents, to get into my first little topic here and about Lane Hutson, I think we can all agree he was probably going to net himself a pretty monstrous contract from the Canadiens, be it right out the gate, starting this offseason, perhaps in another year, whenever Kent Hughes and Gordon were going to do this, he was probably going to be paid quite well. Do you think, now that he's actually got the Calder, and it's his, it's done, it's in the mantle, does this add more to his desire to get paid more? Is this going to affect the contract that's going to be given? And do you believe that Lane Hutson will be the first Montreal Canadian to be a $10 million a year man?
Well, yeah. Luca, you want to go first, or you want me to go? You want me to
No, go for it.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think that he's going to get paid. I think that he's going to, if I'm his agent, I'm thinking more, a short-term deal. You kind of have to bet on yourself sometimes. I mean, obviously that's not in the best interest of the Habs and Habs fans. It's not what you want to hear. You want to hear a sweetheart deal like all the other guys are giving. But at one point, the more individual success you have, the more, individual money is going to come your way.
For sure.
And I think it just adds to it. I think that, because you have to do right. I mean, it's not just the player making that decision. Everyone just thinks it's up to the player to give these sweetheart deals and stuff like that. But there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of people that need to get paid from this player. You got to listen to your agent. You hire your agency and you hire your agents for a reason. They're going to step in and say, listen, man, you're on Rookie of the Year. Just wait. In my opinion, wait it out and see what you get down the line. There's no point to sell yourself short right away. That's just my opinion, obviously. I think that he's going to have I don't think a deal gets done soon, in my opinion. That's just my estimation. And I think the longer you go, the more that figure goes up. And so I do think that he will become, as you said, the first guy with those numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. Luca.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's going to get north of 10 million, like 11. I'm thinking more towards 11.
11?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He has a lot of leverage. What negative thing can you say about Lane Hutson other than his size? And
if I'm the Habs, though, I'm not even sure I lock him up at that amount right now. I'd want to see one more year too.
Yeah.
It's not just the Lane Hutson thing. We've seen people fade out, and as you said, Luca, the size is working against him. And I know he has a lot of heart and stuff like that, but NHL careers are very long, and NHL seasons are very long, and it takes a big toll on the body. And it's just, I just want to see, I want to see a bit more if I'm the Habs, and obviously if I'm Lane Hutson, I'm waiting it out too. So I don't think we'll see a contract anytime soon. That's just
But he is going to do it again. He's going to have the same year, probably better.
Oh,
and he's going to come out a lot more money if that's the case.
I mean, Luca, you have all the answers. I mean, wow. Okay. I mean, so honestly, you're saying right now, if you're in charge, you'd have no problems if you walked up to him and said, Lane, what's it going to take? I want you now. I want to sign you 8 years. He comes back and says, you know what? 11 and a half gets me done. You're like, done. Sign. No problem.
I wouldn't, but I feel like they not will, but they're going to like try to appease him.
What would you do then if you wouldn't do what's your ceiling?
What's my ceiling?
Yeah.
10.5, like
10.5.
10.5.
10.5. Dave, what's your ceiling?
That's my ceiling.
I'm not signing him. I'm not signing him right away. I'm waiting a bit. He's under contract. Let's wait it out. Let's see where it goes. If it costs me $2 more million down the line, fine. I just want to make sure I have someone the superstar.
It's fun to have these conversations when the money is not ours. $2 more million, no problem, no issues. I mean, honestly, I think to answer the question, my own question here, I think it's great that he won the Calder. I think this is a really good thing for the team. It's all good stuff, but I do think that does add, like you're suggesting, to the agent who's going to come to the table when they do have that negotiation. It's more than just, hey, we all know he had a good season. It's stamped, sealed, approved. He had the best season for a rookie. They're going to play it up. They're going to play it up that it's the first guy in 40 plus years to get it in this market. There's going to be a lot there, and I think it is going to affect the contract. I think if they were hoping to get away with potentially getting him for 9, I don't think that's going to happen. I really do think that he will probably be the first $10 million guy on the team, which is interesting. Because we always heard about that internal cap. We always heard about trying to keep the numbers. And again, putting Laine's contract aside because they didn't give it to him, that they try to keep it in and around where Suzuki is at, whatever. But I see your face, Dave. But I mean, it's all proportional, right? The numbers are justified on the cap. So it's the proportion of the cap. The cap is going up. These things are inevitable. You can't say that you're never going to go over $8.75 million. It just doesn't make sense. Therefore, I really do think whether it's this season, next season, I hope it's not this season. Because like Dave, not that I don't think he has the potential to bounce back and do it again. I would like to see consistency. Maybe he doesn't have to get 60 plus assists next year, but he has to show that it's there. You know what I mean? Like there's always that concern. And go ahead.
He has to work on a shot. Like he has holes in his game, right? Like it's not just as if he's a complete player. Like there's stuff he has to do in order to progress. And one great year, it's been done. We've seen it happen a lot of times. People have great years and they fizzle out, and the other teams figure him out. And if Lane Hutson doesn't develop a shot, everyone knows he's going to be passing that puck, and that becomes a problem eventually down the line. And I get that right now he's razzle dazzle and he's quick and he's shifty and it's easier said than done. But this is the pros, man. They'll eventually figure out a way to shut him down if he can't develop that shot. He has to develop those shots, and in doing so, you want to see on your side that he's putting in the work and making it happen. And, you saw with Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes also had a terrible shot, and he worked on it, man. And his numbers are getting there, and they're getting respectable numbers. So there's a lot of work to be done, in my opinion, from Lane Hutson. And I mean, it's crazy to say he's a rookie and he's fan favorite already, rookie of the year. But at the end of the day, I want to see more if I'm going to be paying him that amount of money and that crazy money. And as for the internal cap, it's a structure more so than anything. It's like ideally these guys would be the top ones, but I mean, as you said, like the salary cap goes up. You can't just pin these guys under that amount.
Well, and it's fun because people do talk about that. Oh, they can't start paying him more than the captain. I mean, guys, please, please. That's not a real thing. That's not going to be a thing. But it is interesting to see, and I do think I like to bring it back. Luca, do you think that it would be a fair comparable at this point if you were to project, if you go back in that crystal ball that you were talking about just a little bit before, how you know the future? Do you think Quinn Hughes is the appropriate comparable to what Lane Hutson could become? That's the prototypical guy that he's going to be?
If he works on his shot, yeah, pretty much. That's who they always compare him to, isn't it?
I mean, he has several. I mean, ultimately, it's just like if you were to look at a guy and say, if I asked you right now, you pick one of the top defensemen out there, who do you hope he would become? If he ultimately becomes Quinn Hughes, I think that's the guy we're all saying that he looks to be, right?
As long as he doesn't want to go play with his brother down the line and refuse.
Correct. Go to Washington of all places, please no. Please no. Let it be the other way around for once. But that's cool. I mean, and it's interesting the way what you said before about like players fizzling out and stuff, because it kind of leads perfectly into my second question that I didn't even prompt you for.
Nice.
And that was one of these things where I liked you to think, kind of get into the recesses of your memory and think about a player who, in your mind, if you can go back and change the trajectory of their path in the NHL, or an injury that took them out, or they didn't live up to the potential, who's that one player who you kind of sit back and you're like, you know what, man, if it just would have been a little different, that guy, he would have been the man, my favorite guy. I was big on him and it just didn't materialize.
That's a good question. The first person that came to mind was PK Subban. I've always wondered, to me, what happens if he doesn't get traded from the Canadiens, because he was, I think, as soon as that deal was made, he lost it mentally. He lost the passion for it. It didn't interest him anymore, and he moved on with his life. And the NHL, as you know, you need to commit 100% of your life if you're going to be at that level. And I just think that it faded out, and that's why his career went downhill afterwards. I've always been curious as to what would have happened if he wouldn't have been traded. Had he stuck with the Canadiens and just played on, would he have become that superstar that everyone was projecting him to be? It would have been interesting to see. So that's off the top of my head is the first one.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, because I think a lot of people, before I get to you, Luca, I think a lot of people would look at PK and say, listen, he had a great career. He had a Norris Trophy. I mean, he did achieve, but you make an excellent point. I think it's a very clear drop off when he went to Nashville. That rise stopped. I mean, he plateaued and then very quickly started to come down. So I didn't even. That's a very good take on that one. Luca, you have anybody coming to mind that you think about? Maybe a guy you were big on. He got injured. He got traded quickly. You would have liked to have been a Canadian. And
I'm trying to think of something. Nothing's coming to mind. It's a good question, though.
I have another one. I mean, Luke Schenn. Luke Schenn was a guy that I thought was going to be a stud in Toronto. Like, he was drafted very high, 5th overall, I think. And in his first 2 years, and he's a guy I always point to when it comes to defensemen. When you bring them up at 18 years old and you put all the pressure on the world at them, they're going to perform well, but there's going to be a drop-off somewhere because you're expecting too much of them too young, especially the style of play that Luke Schenn played at the beginning. He was a bruiser. He would body check. And I honestly thought this guy was going to patrol the Leafs blue line for years to come. And he just fizzled out. And obviously, he's still in the NHL. So obviously, the talent to play hockey is there.
But he never hit where you thought he was going to go.
Where anybody thought he was going to go. And I think it was just because they literally put him there at 18 years old. And to me, it's always a dangerous thing to put players like that, especially if you don't know them mentally and you don't know how they are, especially a guy who plays the way he plays. It's a lot to ask of these guys. So I'm a big fan of patience when it comes to these prospects. I think that it's important to develop them properly and to let them play amongst men before just pitching them into it. And you ruin kind of your body, your spirit, all sorts. So he was another guy that kind of just the what ifs,
Another great example, albeit not a Canadian, but still.
Was it a Canadian specific?
It was a Canadian specific question.
Oh, you didn't lead with that.
I feel like I said that, but maybe I didn't. But that's
right. Well, I apologize.
I'll give you one if Luca, you don't have one yet.
Maybe Alex Galchenyuk.
That's my guy.
Okay, well done. I mean, if he was in a market where it wasn't just always parties and
I feel like his father.
Yeah, big time.
Was a big problem there. Huge. I mean, there was a lot of behind the scenes stuff, not to get into all that, but apparently bad crowds and stuff. And then again, he had that first 2-3 seasons, him and Galchenyuk coming in together. And it was like, oh, this is going to be such a thing. He had that scoring touch, he kissed the CH, the whole thing. It was like, yeah, baby, this is it. And then it wasn't it.
It wasn't it.
And then I
think we heard. I think everybody heard the same rumors.
And now he's not even in the NHL. It's crazy.
Alex Galchenyuk is a very, very sad guy. I have a good Alex Galchenyuk story where when I used to produce the broadcast for the Habs and the golf tournaments at the beginning of season tournaments. We were on site and we would get all these interviews. And I traded. Alex Galchenyuk came and he looked at me and he's like, "I need an iPhone charger." And I said, "All right. But you gotta interview, because at that time the players weren't necessarily interviewing on the shows, right? They would handpick like boring ones, and Galchenyuk was, everyone wanted him, and so I said, if you trade me a thing, and I'll get you on as long as you come on air. And he came on air, and I charged his iPhone, and he was a fun guy, and I just think the mental for Alex Galchenyuk, he was. I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn, but he was a great hockey player, and he also had all the skill in the world, but he was surrounded by people that made him feel very poorly about himself, I think, in my opinion, from what I could see. And I think that played a big factor. And you could see when he was at his highs, he was playing really, really well. He played well. And and another example is when he played for the Leafs, he started to turn his career around, and he had that incredibly terrible giveaway against the Habs in the playoffs.
Yeah,
right?
That's a big.
It broke him. It obviously he was having a fantastic time playing on that team, and I honestly thought that, okay, this is going to be a resurgence a little bit of Alex Galchenyuk. Not necessarily with the Leafs. I thought he would go somewhere else at the end of the year, anyways. But it just, you could see it kind of like broke his spirit, and we all know what happened afterwards. And it's just it's a sad story.
Yeah. That to me is the number one name that jumped to mind when I kind of wrote the question down. I was like, I was big on this guy. I mean, I thought this kid was going to be like a potential like top star player. He had scoring prowess. He was young. It was it was a high draft pick. It was all there, and it was unfortunate the way it went down. It's one of those things, like you say, it's a sad story, and that one is too bad, and it's that one hurt. That one I recall hurting.
Yeah, for sure.
You took my guy, Luca, but I'm 100% with you on that one. I mean, I try to think about other names. I think like Ryan McDonough, for example.
That was
drafted by the Habs. I mean, but did he?
Yeah, I mean, that's
have,
a different.
Like it didn't work out because he was traded prior to even starting, so that kind of sucked. I mean,
what about
have also sort of obviously.
Louis LeBlanc was a reach, I think, for what was expected of him. They drafted him because the draft was in Montreal, because he was a hometown boy. I don't think the potential to be what everyone thought he was going to be was ever there.
No, but he definitely didn't reach his potential, like his own potential.
Oh no, but I think I don't even think the potential was much further than what I don't think he was ever going to be the star that people thought he was. No. And even being an everyday NHLer was a questionable thing. That's why when they drafted him, it was a popular hometown choice. He was a West Island kid. Everybody liked him, but it didn't work out.
And it literally planted the seeds moving forward that from that point onwards, I mean, anytime there's a high potential for the Canadiens to draft a kid from here, especially if it's a francophone, you're like, you're biting your nails because you're like, oh no, like you want it so bad, but at the same time you think you're like it's the pressure that gets put on these kids is enormous, and like you wonder, is it that pressure alone? Like some can thrive, I mean it's possible, but I mean just how unfair it is to the kid who's coming in to do it. Every time, like there's even the one in the upcoming draft that the Habs potentially can get at 16 in some of the mock-ups, and you're like, oh no, it's like you almost don't want it, almost.
Yeah,
it's just crazy. It's crazy, and I mean, listen, this city in particular, I know you can talk to all the fan bases out there. They all say their team, their city, the best, and whatever, and everybody has that right. I just think that when you really sit back and you try to be objective about it, which I'm sure is not going to come across on this panel, but what have you, if you try to be objective about it, I really do think that Montreal is the true mecca of hockey in the world. I do. And that beyond the Stanley Cups and stuff and the prestige of the team, it's just this city just eats it up like I think no other city does. And then some cities do it great. I'm not going to discount. I just think Montreal's another level. And on that topic, I'd like to ask you this question. I want you to transpose yourself into somewhere in the organization of the Canadiens, and it's your responsibility to come up with a sales pitch. I'm a UFA. I'm a star UFA. I got any team I want to go to. You called me up. I say, I'm giving you 2 minutes. Sell me on Montreal. Sell me on the team. Sell me on the culture. Sell me now. Why should I come play for you?
That's
and
easy.
either of you do that off the cuff.
Absolutely, man. I tell you, Matty, listen to me. You're coming to the Mecca of hockey, as you just said, the best fans in the world when things are going well and things are trending up. You are about to enter the stock market and you're about to buy low, and there's nowhere else to go but up. Okay, so you come here and you succeed and you are the heart and soul of this team, and you put in a little bit of effort and you give the bonjours and the mercis. You are going to be a legend. I
like the
and if you want to supplement your income a little bit on the side, there are a ton of sponsorship opportunities that you won't get in other markets that have 2, 3, 4 big other sports categories. Montreal is the NHL, and that's it. And it's very similar to Toronto. I know a lot of people say that about Toronto. You got the Nikes, the Uber Eats, the this and that. But Montreal has a francophone market that you could tap into very well. You have a local McDonald's that is always looking for those Habs players. You come here, and you're going to forget about the taxes, bro. It's okay. You're going to get it. Not only that, the F1 comes here. You're going to roll around. You're going to be loved here. You're going to walk the streets. People are going to open their doors for you. You're never going to pay for a meal in this city again. You're never going to pay for a drink ever again. And you're going to come to this city. But most importantly, you're going to be part of a winning culture, a winning team with an amazing fan base. And that's just it, man. Like, you are going to have a chance to be in the record books. And even if it doesn't work out, like Habs alumni, it's a great thing once you retire. People welcome you back, and people can forgive. So, listen, man, just come on here, sign on the dot. You're not going to get that if you go get your money in Detroit. You're going to compete with the Tigers. You're going to compete with the Lions players. You're not going to get that sponsorship money. You're not going to get the fame. You're not going to get anything. Just come here, play hockey. Elite practice facility, beautiful homes.
Practice facility now. I mean, that is what I want to hear. Luca?
How do you want me to follow that?
Listen, you're going to have to try some. Tell me.
Come to dinner. We're the best butcher in the town. You know, the best butcher in the world.
There you see. He's even doing my pitch for me. We don't have to talk.
Luca goes to the food. The food here.
Well, come buy meat from me. You get free meat forever. Sign on the dotted line, and we'll offer you just a tad more than the captain.
Ooh, okay. But I mean, put it aside then. Luca, what do you think, just your words, not sales pitch, like beyond the obvious, what do you think makes it special to be a Montreal Canadiens player, like to come and play here?
You get to put on a jersey that the biggest legends in hockey ever put on. The biggest names ever have put on this jersey, and even the names that are legends of other teams respected the jersey of the Montreal Canadiens. You get to be part of an alumni of just the most storied franchise in all of sports. How can you say no to that?
All of sports.
Yeah, come on.
Now we're talking.
It's pretty close. Yankees.
It's up there. It's up
Yankees
there.
and Habs are pretty much.
It's up there. It's up there. Yeah, but then Celtics or Lakers.
Well, you got them both. They're both have such insane history.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. Ultimately, I asked that question, and I end on this question because it's a fun thing leading in. We're close to draft, we're close to free agency, and every year it's the same thing. It's you talk to people, particularly fans that aren't from here, and they're like, why would they want to go there? Why would you want the pressure? Why would you want the language thing? Why would you want less money because of the taxes? Why this? Why that? And I think what Dave did and what Luca complimented on is exactly it. That's the kind of stuff. I think the best thing is we had 20 plus years of it being pretty rough here. And if it's rough here and you play here, it's not a pleasant place to play. I think we can all admit it. But you're on an uptick for the first time in so long. And if you come here and the team is winning, to that point, you will be elevated. You will be treated with such an amount of just, and this is another potential knock on it, but it's a constant here. Even in the summer, you can't hide from it. You are just treated as good as you can possibly be treated. You're revered, in fact. And that is something that is attractive for some guys, and it might shy some people away. But ultimately, now would be the time to do that sales pitch because this team is on the upswing. And I think there is a very good chance that this offseason you might see some interesting things that you wouldn't have seen before. And I'm curious to see if Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon are going to maybe take a little bit of what Dave was saying, a little bit of what Luca was saying, put it all together and make one hell of a sales pitch to some of these big UFAs that are out there.
I think he will, man. I honestly think that
so.
they seem to be a group of people that players respect from what I can tell from around the league. They're players guys, right? They used to be agents. They know what's involved in being an NHL player. And I think that they're the guys to do it. I have full confidence in this regime, more so than I've ever had in any regime that I've been alive for with the Montreal Canadiens. And I'm telling you that with all honesty. When everyone was on the Bob Gainey train and the Marc Bergevin train, I had my doubts, man. There was some really, really bad moves done. And, not everything that Jeff Gordon and Ken Hughes did I agree with. Not everything they've done so far do I like. But they haven't done anything to make me go like, there's not enough for me to doubt them. They still have my full confidence, and I can't say the same. Very early on in both of those guys, the last 3-4 regimes that I've been alive for, there's just moves you're just like, what's going on here?
No, what's your plan for? They haven't had a big miss yet. I mean, and that's very reassuring going into this offseason that I think is a very important one. So, I mean, listen, let us know. If you made it this far in the comments below, what would be your sales pitch? What would you bring up as a attractiveness of the city, of the team that would entice a UFA to come here? Always curious to hear. We want to see the positive out there. Like what's the good? In addition to that, of course, do you think Lane Hutson could he be the first $10 million man? Does he merit it if it happens this offseason? Let us know about that too. Be very curious to know. On that, brings the end of this episode. Thanks very much for tuning in, checking us out again. Appreciate every one of you who takes the time to listen to us just ramble about the Canadiens in middle of June. So for Luca and Dave on that, and of course this was
Get Pucked.